guys, it's Taylor. I know it's been a little bit longer than I would have liked since my last video, but I've been out of town doing a couple things and I don't just haven't got around to making a video. But recently, there was something that came up that I wanted to talk about, and that was Square Enix's first production department premiere event they had in Tokyo. And I know I talk a lot about Square Enix, but it's a company that really got me into games back when it was Squaresoft with the PlayStation Final Fantasies and Xenogears and Chrono Cross and all those great games. And I know they've kind of done poorly recently, or they just made games that have kind of been pissing people off, but somewhere in my heart I want them to do good, and I want the games they're putting out to do well, because that's just what I grew up with and I hate to see it go down the toilet. So they announced a couple pretty big games and a pretty good number of games that are changing a little bit. So I know the big one that everybody's going to talk about, I'll save that for the end. But the first one that concerns me the most is changing Final Fantasy XIII Agito to Final Fantasy Type O. Now I know a little while back they had trademarked that and everybody was like, what is this Type O? And then I think the week before they announced the game at the premiere, they had Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 trademarked, which leads me to believe they're going to try to make this spin-off series on the PSP, which is cool because the only real Final Fantasy PSP games they've had are Dissidia and Crisis Core. They're not real dedicated games like a numbered series. They were just spin-offs or whatever, or like a compilation like Dissidia. So it's cool to see a real just dedicated Final Fantasy game. The only question I have is how did they shift it from being a 13 spin-off to now it's its own game? I don't know how they've mixed the story up or how they changed it, if it had anything to do with the 13 world in the first place. But I know the director of the game had mentioned that it's going to be extremely action-oriented in comparison to the other Final Fantasy games, which I kind of prefer. I actually like battle systems and RPGs that are more action-oriented, like the Tales games or Kingdom Hearts or something like that. So I'm pretty excited about it. Looking forward to getting my hands on that game. Hopefully it will come out this year. They haven't really said a lot about that. But I'm looking forward to that. Glad that they're doing something just on the PSP, considering it's the most popular system in Japan. The next I want to talk about is the Kingdom Hearts 3DS game. Now, I'm not quite sure if this is supposed to be Kingdom Hearts 3 or if it's just another spin-off. And that's just one thing that pisses me off about what they're doing with the Kingdom Hearts series. They have all these games that have nothing to do with the main story. They're in-betweens, or they're with these other characters that don't have anything to do with the main story, 358 in 2 days and Recoded, which to my knowledge both did poorly or were received poorly. The only one that I would consider to be half decent would be Birth by Sleep, but even that, I could care less about the story. I don't really care about Aqua and all those other people in the game. It was a mini version of Kingdom Hearts, and it was fun. The gameplay was fun. It was cool to get back into that world and see all the characters and stuff, but the story really didn't do anything for me, to be honest. And I'm really sick of them milking that franchise, and I really just want them to make Kingdom Hearts 3. I don't understand what's so hard about that. I guess they have to appeal to their home audience in Japan, because they like the more portable stuff. So, the Birth by Sleep, which they're making a final mix now. I don't know what's going to be different about it. So they have, the Birth by Sleep Recoded, which was on the DS. Now they're going to get a 3DS game. But man, I think this is just a sign of the times that Japan is just not keeping up with the Western games, because even Keiji Inafune, the guy that used to work for Capcom, said that Japan is just fallen off recently, and the Western developers are catching up and surpassing them. And when titles, big numbered titles in Final Fantasy, just are received poorly, it's sold well, but it's received poorly, then I don't know, it just bodes well for future titles. So I hope that they eventually make Kingdom Hearts 3, because there are so many people that want that game, and that they stop making these stupid spin-off games that nobody really wants. And I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me personally, but obviously Square Enix knows something that I don't that warrants them making these spin-off games. Next, the thing that I personally was the most excited about was the Versus 13 trailer. Now, ever since I've heard about this game, it's gotten me really excited, because this, I feel is going to be the first Final Fantasy game that I could really fall in love with since 9. I didn't like 10. I tried my best to get into 12. I just couldn't do it. And I've watched my friend play 13, and it's a good game. it definitely doesn't warrant the flack that it's been getting. Like, I feel like if it was a game called The Legend of Pulse or something, and it wasn't like a Final Fantasy game, then I think it would have been received better. But because it's like so linear, and I don't know, the battle system's cool, where you can change the paradigms, and it seems a little bit more interactive and a little bit more intense. But I don't know, the Versus 13 is a game that I can't wait. It seems more open, and the story seems pretty cool, like a little bit more on the serious side, not as many goofy creatures. It's like, you know, this type of year setting, although it's supposed to take place in Pulse or Cocoon. Like, I don't really know a lot about the story, but the trailer looked awesome. The fighting system is going to be action-oriented. Apparently it's supposed to be based off the Kingdom Hearts engine, which I love. I'm super excited about that. The world just looks more open. Everything about it looks so good, so cool, man. I have such high hopes for this game, and I hope I'm not disappointed. Again, they didn't mention any kind of release date yet. I'm assuming it's probably not going to come out until next spring for us, or next summer, or something like that. I mean, this game has been in development for freaking ever, but I don't know. I hope that it comes out soon and it's good, because I have yet to play like a PS3 RPG that's really wowed me, but then again, I haven't really played many PS3 RPGs. But I'm hoping that it does well. I'm super excited about it. And then the last thing that made a big splash was Final Fantasy 13-2. Now, this is one of those things where I just don't get why they did that. That even goes back to 10-2. Like, of all the Final Fantasies that like warranted a sequel, I feel like 13 and 10 are definitely not one of them. I feel like 7 probably could have been given a sequel. Even 12 would have been cool. Like, I know I didn't like it, but Balthier's story was cool. I would have liked to see like a backstory on him, or like to further his story even. It would have been cool to see even 9. Like, 9 would have been cool to see, like, you know, further that world. But 10-2 is just silly. Everybody knows it. It wasn't received great. And same with 13. Like, I don't know why they would make a 13-2. It boggles my mind. But Square Enix seems to be making games that people aren't asking for, and I don't know why. Like, I feel like the games that people want are Versus 13. Put your focus on Versus 13, make it awesome, and put that out. Kingdom Hearts 3, get your people off these other stupid sequels and make a good, dedicated game for that, and make that happen. I'm actually pretty excited about the new Dissidia coming up, and I want to comment on that in a little bit. But 13-2 I don't think is a game that anybody was asking for, and I don't know why they're making it. It looks like Lightning's kind of like this royal guard. She's wearing this armor, and then she's got this rival. I don't know who he is, just some guy that she's clashing swords with. And I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing or why they're making this game. Nobody's asking for it. And same with 14. Like, 14 was a freaking bomb. I don't know why they made that game when 11 was doing so good. Like, maybe make 11-2 or something like that, and just give it a graphical facelift to maybe change it around a little bit. But like, from what I understand, 14 is more geared towards the Japanese audience. It's very grind oriented, because the Japanese love to do their grind fests, and it just is not going to be able to compete with you know, the WoWs of the world. It's just not going to happen. Whereas maybe if they gave 11 a graphical facelift and fix it up a little bit, it might work, but I don't know. And then lastly, I just want to touch on a little bit is Dissidia Duodecim. They announced that if you buy the demo, which you have to buy, which is stupid, and it's going to be like $3 or $4, that if you buy the demo and you load up that save file, then you'll be able to get Eris as an assist character in the game. Not even a full character, just an assist character. And they also announced Parrish. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I've never played Final Fantasy XI, but she's going to be in the game. Yuna's going to be in the game. There's hints of Gilgamesh at the end of the trailer, which I'll put a link to in the description so you guys can check it out. And I feel like they definitely need to put more villains in the game, so I think Gilgamesh is going to be in the game. And that, I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to like the RPG aspect they put into the game. And just to play with the different characters. I'm probably going to end up playing with Tiff a lot, maybe messing around with Lightning, Laguna. I know a lot of people have been excited about Laguna being in the game. So, yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on the Square Enix's production department premiere. Couple cool moves, a couple questionable moves, as always. I hope Square Enix gets their act together and, I don't know, makes it happen, because some moves they've been doing lately just boggle my mind. Like I don't get it. And I have high hopes for 13 versus 13. I'm looking forward to what Type O becomes, and I'm definitely going to get Dissidia, which comes out in March. It comes out very soon after the Japanese release, which is a little bit surprising. Usually it comes out months and months after. So that's cool. But anyways, if you guys have heard about this, all the news, or if you're just hearing about it for the first time, definitely would love to hear your thoughts on it. And also, me and my friends are continuing to do a live stream. We're doing more Final Fantasy 1, and I think we're probably going to stop because it's boring to watch and it's boring to play. Like, it's super archaic. So we're probably going to do something more fun, like Resident Evil or Silent Hill or a fighting game or something. I don't know. You leave your response. Maybe there's a game you want to watch us play. You know, if you've seen what games I have a little bit. So if there's a game you want us to play, request it, and definitely leave your thoughts about the production department premiere. And follow me on Twitter. I always have that in the description because you'll know when we're doing a live stream. I'll tweet it out, and you can, you know, get on there and we chat and we have a good time. So anyway, guys, sorry this was a little bit longer and, you know, took me a little bit longer to put out, but I'm hoping to do some reviews, some retrospectives, and stuff like that in the near future. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Up to 50 subscribers. Love it. Thank you. Keep subscribing and keep checking back for some cool stuff. And yeah, we'll see you next time.